Am I the idiot for assuming I'd inherit my mother's house? My 20 female mother raised me and my sister, 22, as a single parent in a single-income household. We've rented our whole lives and grew up low-middle class. We never went without food or other essentials, but didn't have the luxuries of many wants. I started investing when I was 17 through my mother, and have been somewhat successful through it. I have accumulated enough money to afford a down payment on a house in our neighborhood/city. I have decided to pursue a second degree at college to further my career/job opportunities, and currently have a part-time job, which is not enough to support a mortgage. I currently rent with a roommate. Me and my mother have an extremely good relationship, and I used to joke growing up that when I'm older and have money, I'd buy a house and let her live with me so she doesn't have to worry about her living situation/a mortgage/paying rent when she's older. I told my mother about my plan to buy a house and pitched the idea that I'd give her the money as a down payment, and she'd pay the mortgage. She has a very stable job now and can afford to keep up on a mortgage. The down deposit was the issue as she didn't have enough saved to afford our city. She didn't want to feel burdened by me, but I really want to do this for her. I would move in and contribute some money in rent for utilities/mortgage. It's a beneficial situation for both of us. Eventually, in 20+ years when my mom retires or whenever she wants to retire, I should have a stable career and be able to take over the remainder of her mortgage if she still had one. We all agreed on this and both were extremely excited about starting the process. I was fine with the house being in my mother's name, but this is where the conflict came up. When I agreed for it to be in my mother's name, it was because I'd still be able to live there, would inherit it in the future, and it would eventually be in my name anyway. My mother disagreed, and said she would leave it to both me and my sister 50/50. I didn't understand as my sister was not contributing financially to this house, while I was. I told my mother that I would not give her the money for a down deposit if I didn't solely inherit it in the future. She called me selfish for making her leave my sister with nothing, but I disagree. My sister has never had much focus or priority on her future or career, and is quite materialistic. She hardly saves and has a boyfriend who she'll 98% marry eventually, and have children with. I personally want to be child-free, and knowing my sister, she'll believe she is more deserving as she'll have a family. Also, if she knew about my mother and I buying a house but still inheriting it in the future, there is zero chance she'd save for her own place. She'd wait till our mother passed and assume she'd be able to move it. Am I the idiot for demanding/assuming I'd inherit my mother's house? Edit. Sorry for not clarifying. I'd be paying the deposit plus at least 40% of the mortgage over time. My bank denied my application for a loan. Now for a few comments before the update. Tough call, to be honest, but why don't you save yourself the headache? Put the house in your name and charge your mom rent. Then the original poster responded with, "Thank you for the advice. Honestly, I'd never considered that. I just wanted her to have the security of knowing she owned a house. Something she had always talked about as we grew up. I might have a talk with her about this option though." Comment 2, not the idiot. I would never put money into a house without it being in my name. I don't care if your mother agrees with you on everything today, she can change her mind at any time and God knows what she will say if she has one. Now for the update. To start this off, I have decided to not purchase a house at this moment. I sat down to talk about this decision with my mom and gave the following requests that would make me comfortable with purchasing a house with her. 1. Both our names would be on the deed/mortgage, with joint tenancy. This would mean that when either of us passed, it would automatically be passed on to the other and not counted as estate. This was the one I liked the best. 2. I donate a portion of the down deposit, not all, and consider it a gift. 3. After discussing with an estate lawyer and financial advisor, we do it in a very legal way with signed documents and everything, dictating my percentage, my mother's, and the maximum payoff my sister could receive if I wanted to buy her share. Saw this in a comment, etc. I said I would only consider this option if my percentage was 51% or above. Both names of the mortgage and deed. 4. Nothing, we both do our own thing. My mother took the day to discuss these options and said she didn't feel comfortable not leaving anything for my sister when she passes. And like a lot of you guys said, I realize we just aren't compatible. I tried to tell her why I wanted it this way so I would have financial security in the future, but also so I could help her, but she said I was being heartless to not consider my sister's future. She tried to negotiate option 3, but at only 50% guaranteed it to me. I know that selfishly that's not a beneficial situation for me to be in, but I just can't bring myself to agree to that. I would pay for all of the deposit, then 40% of the mortgage, and still get half even if I didn't do the following. This would also set me back years to buy a house I would actually own. I was also worried after reading comments that she would go and leave her portion to my sister, making it 50/50 anyway. My mother said I was selfish for going back on my word and forcing her to choose between me and my sister, and that I should realize I'm a part of a family before seeing her or my sister again. I feel bad for putting conditions on this offer, but this was never a gift or anything like that. It was an opportunity for both of us to buy a house, but all of our options don't seem to be mutually beneficial. We haven't talked for the past 2 days and I don't really see the situation having much more closure to this. My plan is to finish school and work for a few years before committing to buying a home, but thank you for all the advice you have given me. I'm sad that it ended like this, but hope not too much damage was done in the long run. If you have any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Comment 1. Your mother is very worried about the prospect of not leaving an inheritance for your sister, yet it seems to have escaped her notice that, if you pay for half of the house and end up with 50%, while your sister also gets 50%, she has left nothing to you. You would be tying up a lot of money for decades, missing out on other opportunities for investment, in order to facilitate an inheritance for your sister. I think that you're better off not being part of this. Save your resources to buy your own home. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Wow, just wow. I can't believe the entitlement and selfishness in your post. Your mother, who raised you as a single parent and provided for you, is willing to let you live in a house that she would be paying for, and you have the audacity to demand that you solely inherit it in the future? Your sister, who is also your mother's child, deserves a fair share as well. Your reasoning for excluding your sister is just downright cruel. So what if she has a boyfriend and wants to start a family? That doesn't make her any less deserving of an inheritance. And assuming that she wouldn't save for her own place because she expects to inherit your mother's house is just baseless speculation on your part. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not telling my mother that my brother's seeing someone and humiliating her? My 31 male brother has broken off a long-term relationship. He decided to see a therapist to help with his depression, and that has helped him tremendously. My mother and I don't have a relationship because she's homophobic. My brother and I are LC with her. She's been very upset about him breaking his engagement note. See my other Am I the Idiot post. Not once did she call to see how we were coping. She only called to berate him. My brother met someone, Anna, at a party we went to. They hit it off and went on a few dates. He asked me to keep this to myself, and that he was doing things at his pace. Yesterday, I got a call from my mother asking me if I knew that my brother was seeing someone. She said she saw him with Anna at a restaurant and confronted him. My brother freaked out and left Anna at the restaurant. I tell her that his love life is none of her business. She responded by saying that I manipulated her only son into breaking off his engagement. I just hung up and called Anna to see if she needed help. She asked me to come pick her up. When I get to the restaurant, I see her outside getting screamed at by my mother. She was with a family friend, calling her a homewrecker, whore, gold digger. Anna got in my car. My mother came to my car and banged on the windows. People were staring now, and my mom literally put herself in front of my car to block our way. I got out of the car, grabbed her arm and pushed her away. She couldn't get a word in because I was yelling about how she's a pathetic excuse of a mother, and that all her children freaking hate her, and that she's the only reason my brother didn't want to tell her he's seeing someone. My mother was speechless for a second, and we just left. Anna was shaking, so I decided to bring her over to our house. My brother locked himself in his room and didn't want to talk to anyone. We just sat down, and when she got her bearings she decided to head home, and my partner dropped her off at her house. The next day I get a voicemail from my mother telling me that I humiliated her in front of her friend by telling lies and slandering her reputation, and that I assaulted her. I am getting calls from family saying that I should never speak to my mother like that, and that it affected my poor mother's mental health. Some of our extended family didn't know why my brother ended his engagement, but they're all taking my mother's side now. I only feel bad because my brother is also getting bombarded by calls and texts saying he let his ex down, that he was hurting his mother so much, and that he should be ashamed. I feel like we're back at square one because I chose to confront my mother. I tried to get him to make an appointment with his therapist this week, but he's been ghosting me. I feel like this turn of events could have been avoided if I didn't confront my mother and just left with Anna, and that it made Anna an even bigger target for my mother because she was with me when I exploded. Edit. Thank you to all who answered. I have to take care of exam week for my students, so I did not have time to edit before now. So much organizing to do. I wholeheartedly agree that my brother was also an idiot, but I know that he acted recklessly because he couldn't deal with the situation, emotionally. He finally decided to go see his therapist again. I read over every comment, and will try to answer the most I can. My mother did not press charges for me grabbing her arm, but I agree with the comments saying I shouldn't have done that. Thanks again for all the help. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot blocks them all. You do know it's a function easily used on you and your brother's phone. Regardless, they know who your mother is and how toxic she is. That alone should have made them know she wasn't telling the truth. Even if she did tough poop, she brought it on herself. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your mother humiliated herself. Yes, this could have been handled better, but it sounds like your mother would have made the situation hell any way you did things. It sounds like your mother is a I'm concerned with how your actions represent her, and B, with people viewing her as the victim. Personally, I would just cut all contact and be done with it. Now for the update. A short update for everyone: I have decided to go full no contact with my mother, and all my siblings have decided to do the same after they heard about what happened. Obviously, my mother is not pleased and is telling everyone I demonized her. If I try chucking holy water at her, we'll never know. I am moving out of the country for a job opportunity with my current partner. Frankly, I feel like putting as much distance between me and my mother is going to be the best outcome for everyone. We're moving in about 2 months to Switzerland. Anna and my brother have spoken about what he did. He apologized and told her that he thought, at that time, that he was ready to move on and be his normal self again, but he realized he would need more help. He apologized profusely for what he did to her, and he would understand if she didn't want to speak to him again. He's been seeing his therapist regularly again and has cut contact with our mother. Anna was hesitant at first but decided to forgive him, and they decided that being friends would be better for them. We're all meeting, siblings and mutual friends, for a New Year's Eve party tonight, and we'll have fun, or not, since we're extremely competitive when it comes to board games and things get heated, in a good way. So, I feel like this is a happy ending for everyone except my mother. I feel a bit bad saying this, but that makes me happy. Thank you for the help and all the comments on my original post, and Happy New Year. Comment 1. Thanks for the excellent update. Sounds like things are going well. I doubt Mum will ever recognize she's the problem, so no contact it is. Comment 2. Surely your mother's behavior on its own demonized her by the way she reacted at the restaurant in front of her friends. Frankly, she sounds like a raving lunatic. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like. It really helps the channel grow. See you next time.